Hi everyone, this is just a real quickie before I disappear to Malvern Show, because I realised in my last YouTube I did one about charm pack patterns and the latest charm packs we got, and I said, see this quilt, there's a YouTube tutorial on how to do these blocks, and actually I lied, there isn't. So I've sort of half prepared one quickly just to show you in case you've been scrolling through looking for it. It's not there. So this is the T for 2 pattern, which is one of the which is ideal for charm packs. This one I did with a French General charm pack. Obviously I've added a border on, which you'd have to have a bit of extra fabric for that. As you can see, it's all beautiful French General, and it looks really complicated, but actually it's really easy. The other sample I've got that I haven't actually packed in the van is this one. So this was Three Sisters fabric. So these are quite, well, they're similar in colour to the latest ones, to the Bliss ones that we've got, that I showed you in the charm pack tutorial, which is the last one on my YouTube channel. And T for 2 is backwards because I've got the phone on backwards, if you know what I mean. So if you've got a charm pack, all you do, excuse the outfit, it's Sunday morning, I was up watching Eurovision late, and I've just crawled out of bed and put my running gear on and come straight into shed. So as I was saying, charm pack squares. So to make 2 blocks, you'll do 2 together. You want 2 contrast fabrics, so pick out 2 squares. So I've got this blue dotty, this is from the Dutch Heritage pack, and a floral. And I've put them right sides together, and I've drawn diagonal line across the block. And all you do is then get your ruler and measure 3/4 of an inch either side of those lines, and start with one cut, do the cut the other side, and then if you've got one of these rotating mats, it's much easier, and just keep going round until you've cut 3/4 of an inch either side of that line. And then you will end up, open your cut up, and you will end up with these 2. So you'll get 2 contrasting blocks. So if you open it up like so, and then if you just opened it up like that, obviously all that's the same fabric, so you'd pull that out and then you put the blue one in there and carry on with the other bits, and so you end up with 2 blocks like this. Okay, so once you've done that, here's some I've done slightly different fabric. So here's one of the blocks I've pulled apart here, so slightly different colours on this one, and then we're going to sew them together row by row. So I've sewn the top 3 blocks together, I've sewn the middle 3 together, and I've sewn the bottom 3 together. Okay, when you've done that, obviously then sew these together when you're ironing them. So press at the top block, I've pressed out, the middle block I've pressed in, and the bottom block I've pressed out. So when you sew those together, you've not got great big bumpy seams, because they'll butt up together when you sew them together. So when you've sewn them together, you get a rather strange looking block, because you're going to have to trim it. So you're going to get this block when you've sewn them together, and you can see there's funny little bits on the end here. So if you get your ruler, put your ruler on top of it, it should measure about 3.5 inches. If your seam allowance, 1/4 inch seam allowance on your machine is a bit bigger or a bit smaller, your measurements may vary, but just trim down all your blocks to the same size. So I know when I sew it on my Janome, it's got a generous 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I was trimming them all down to 3.25 inch squares. And when you've trimmed them down, you're going to end up with this. So then you'll simply sew them all together, and then you'll end up, I mean, this French General one was completely random, but you can play, you know, just pick out, say, a couple of different prints. You can play with making all sorts of interesting patterns, but this is completely random, and because it's French General, I mean, it doesn't matter what you do with French General, does it? It always looks gorgeous. And again, the Three Sisters one, I think, was completely random as well. And they make really good, if you just did it in maybe creams, you can make interesting backgrounds for your applique, which is my next project. It's just an interesting looking block and it's really easy to do and they come together really quickly. So now I'm off to do some more packing of the van. If you're coming to Malvern, come and say hello, it'd be really nice to see you. Have a good Sunday, and I'll do some more. I'll try and do some videos at Malvern just so you can see, if you can't come to the quilt show, so you can see what it's like, who all the traders are there. Handy Andy will be there opposite me, so we'll have big boys opposite Handy Andy. Lots of other people there. It's going to be really interesting and hopefully the weather's going to stay dry. So see you soon. Bye.